Before we get started, anybody has any cell phones, please turn them off or mute them. All right, gentlemen, are we ready? The City Council Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, met in the City Council chamber on Monday, April 30th, 2012 at 6:30 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the matters listed below. Notice of this meeting was posted on April 26th, 2012 at 6:31 p.m. This meeting is being recorded, and I believe we are also on SATV. And I don't know if we're live or not, but we're on SATV. Councilors present, Councilors O'Keefe of the committee, Councilors O'Keefe, Councilor Siegel, Councilor Sargent, and myself, Councilor Sosnowski. As a co-posted matter, we also have with us Councilor Prevey and also Councilor Turiel, excuse me.
You're getting there.
I'm getting there, excuse me. All right. Also in the chambers with us this evening, we have Parking Director Jim Hacker, we have the City Planner, Lynn Duncan, we have an Associate Planner, actually, what's your Assistant Director?
Economic Development Manager.
Economic Development Manager Tom Daniels. We also have, representing the partnership, Patricia Zato. And we also have in the corner Kate Fox, excuse me. I'm sorry. I keep on getting you and Jennifer confused. All right. Just so that we know what's going to happen this evening, the first thing we're going to listen to a presentation from Tom Daniels, the person who put the comprehensive parking plan together, and possibly from Lynn Duncan as well. Then we're going to take questions from the council of them. Then we are going to open this up for everybody to speak. There will be nobody not allowed to speak. All right? Everybody will be allowed to speak, contrary to what might have been told to everybody. Oh, also with us this evening is the Mayor's Chief Aide, Jason Silver. That being said, would you come forward, please, Tom?
Good evening. Thanks, Councilor, committee members. I'm Tom Daniel, the Economic Development Manager for the city, and I did not bring my PowerPoint this evening. Several of you have seen the PowerPoint several times, and this goes back over to last year's discussions of the parking plan. What I wanted to do, because there are many people in the audience tonight who weren't at any of the meetings last year or over the past 2 years, I did want to provide some context for what this study was about and how it came about. So I work in economic development. I work in the planning department. Jim Hacker is the parking director. Together we worked on this parking study, but it really originated out of a development question. The Church Street lot is owned by the Salem Redevelopment Authority, and the question was, if something is built on that piece of land rather than parking, what happens to that parking supply? We had a panel of redevelopment folks come up from Boston from the Urban Land Institute. Some of them were finance people, some were transportation people, there were hotel development people as well. And they said to us, you know, you really need to figure out how your parking system works as a whole rather than just looking at this piece of land and this particular parking in isolation. So that led to this study being done. And we had a 14-member working group that guided the study from selecting the consultant through the public workshops to developing recommendations that were presented to the council and carrying things forward. Jim Hacker and Lynn Duncan were part of that 14-member working group. Kate Fox and Patricia Zato as well. Renus Ostuk, the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce, is at the licensing board. He's going to come over tonight if that meeting wraps up before this one does. In addition, Main Streets was represented. We had downtown residents, downtown business people, the police department, the redevelopment authority. Just a very broad group of people who guided this over a 2-year process. Now, the consultant team that we hired, what they did is they counted every single parking space downtown, whether it was privately owned or publicly owned. We have an inventory of all of the spaces. Then they went back and they looked to see when the spaces were being occupied. They counted every single space on 3 different dates, and we have a utilization pattern. So we know where there's a lot of parking in the morning, where there's a lot of parking occupied in the afternoon, and in the evening on different days of the week. Their findings, one of the things that people said was there's no parking in Salem, and actually there's plenty of supply. The peak time, there's about 3,000 parking spaces that are publicly owned in downtown Salem. At 10 o'clock on a Thursday morning, that's the crunch time. At 10 o'clock on a Thursday morning, there's still 750 public parking spaces available. In addition to that, there's over 1,000 private spaces that are available at that same crunch time. So it's not a supply issue. There's plenty of supply. It's just how that supply is utilized. So that was a key finding from the study. Another finding was we have a really complicated regulatory environment. There are 13 different types of parking regulation. There's 15-minute parking, 30-minute parking, 1-hour parking, 2-hour parking. Some of it you pay for, some of it you don't pay for. Hawthorne Boulevard, little short Hawthorne Boulevard, has 7 different types of parking on it. It's very confusing for people. If they live in town, it's confusing, let alone the person that's coming to run an errand, go shopping, or coming to the day to visit. So it wasn't a supply issue, but there was an imbalance about how things were being utilized. Complex regulatory environment on the street. We also had kind of upside down pricing. People like to park right in front of where they're going. So that on-street space is the prime space that everyone likes. Everyone wants to get that prime space. We've been charging 50 cents for that space. We charge you $1.50 to park your car in a parking garage. That's generally less desirable for folks. So our pricing was upside down. It wasn't doing anything to help move people into the garages. So that was another key finding. And another piece of it was there's a temptation to look at one part of the parking system and not deal with the rest of it. And really, what we learned is that we need to address everything as a whole. We can't just change the pricing in one lot, or change the pricing in one garage, or change one regulation without it impacting something else. So we really looked holistically at the system. And what we learned through this study is that what matters most to people is not the pricing, but the convenience, the ability to park. That front door space is what people care most about. We had a survey, over 600 people responded to the survey, and 76% of them said that the convenience was the thing that mattered most to them. Only 10% said price was the issue. Where did this all lead? Well, what we also learned, Jim is the only person of our 14-member group who's a parking expert throughout all this process, so we all learned a lot along the way. But what we learned is that in the parking system, having one space open per block is really what you want to manage your parking towards. If there's a space open on every block, that gives people the sense that there's a space available and there's hope. What we're dealing with is a lot of people's perceptions. Again, we've got 750 public spaces available at our crunch time and 1,000 private spaces. It's not a supply issue. It's a balancing issue, and it's people's perceptions. So what the council did is they adopted an objective for the parking system so that one space per block would be open. That gives turnover. It's something you can manage towards because it's measurable. There's a metric there. You can find out what you're doing, if you're meeting that objective or not. And if you're not, you can make some adjustments to it. So the council adopted that outcome. The working group went back and developed a series of specific recommendations in terms of pricing, introducing some new pass options, some other revisions to the system that the council adopted last year. That was finalized in July of 2011. Since 2011, we've been working on implementation. It's been fairly complicated in terms of finding technology that we want to work with, the vendors, pricing. There's been some software issues that we've had to work through. We've made a really great deal of progress, but that's the work that's been going on since last summer. Just want to go back again to the process. So we had this 14-member working group. It's met for 2 years. We presented not just to this board, to this body rather, we presented to the Chamber of Commerce, we presented to Main Streets, to the Salem Partnership, to the Neighborhood Advisory Improvement Council. We went to Rotary. I've met with individual neighbors. I've met with individual business people and just individual parkers. One of the things I've heard or read is that some people think that the city just cooked this up overnight. No, it's been 3 years. In June, it will be 3 years that we've been working on this. There's been over 30 public presentations of this information. 12 of them on 12 meetings were on, 12, this item was on the 12 council agendas. So there's been over 30 public meetings, and that's not counting the dozens of working group meetings that we also had that were public meetings too. So we had a lot of input throughout the process. Again, there were over 600 responses to our survey. It was covered extensively in the news. The Salem News had articles and editorials, the Gazette, the Patch, a map of the area showing where the study was being undertaken and where the changes were happening was in the paper as well. So there was a lot of information. We're really pleased at the media response and attention to it. So where are we going? Again, the council set this outcome of having one space open per block. We're looking to have a system that's equitable so that it's fair to everyone. We're trying to balance different users. We have businesses that care about their customers. We have employers that care about their employees. We have residents who maybe live out in Witchcraft Heights and want to come downtown. We have residents who live downtown and they have a different set of parking objectives. We have tourists that are coming. We have commuters that are coming. We have all these different users using the same parking supply. And we're trying to balance those things out. So we're trying to move from this environment of having 13 different types of parking to something that's equitable for businesses and for the community as a whole. So there's been changes. You know, the biggest changes I'll speak are the areas where we're going from an area that there hasn't been any meters, where the spaces have been free, such as around Steve's Market, on Margin Street, where we were proposing to put meters. We're going from no fee to a fee. So you're going from free to pay. In addition, in that environment, we're going from a short time limit of 15 minutes to the 4-hour time limit that the system has. Now, a lot of people have said 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours. That's a really long time. Someone's going to park all day there. That's going to become their commuting spot. They're going to come and park there. So technically, yes, someone could park for 4 hours and then go back in and feed the meter for 4 hours. But it makes no economic sense. I just want to play this out. If you were to park 40 hours at a meter, that's at 75 cents an hour, it's going to cost you $30 a week. $30 a week, 4 weeks a month, that's $120 a month. So if you fed a meter every day, it cost you $120 a month. You could buy a pass to the garage for $65 a month. Or you could buy one of the low-cost options, the $25 pass. It's going to let you park in Riley Plaza. So again, you could spend $120 a month or $25 a month. Most people, they're going to choose the $25 a month if it's right across the street. And we're talking in the same general area there. Free parking is essentially being eliminated downtown. There are spaces in front of my office at 120 Washington Street. Those free spaces are being eliminated. There's meters going in there. That change, though, is a little different in terms of the context than something around Steve's Market, where there aren't any meters right there today. Now, time limits are something our consultant during this process was really encouraging us to eliminate time limits completely. Because what we're doing is we're shifting from some arbitrary number of 15 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours to using pricing to guide people to different pricing or different parking options. So the working group said, you know, we're not ready to take that big step to no time limits, but 4 hours seems to be a reasonable compromise. So that's where the 4-hour time limit comes from. Again, the expectation isn't that people are going to park for 4 hours. What it does is it provides some flexibility so that if someone wants to come down and go out to lunch and do some shopping or maybe get their hair cut, you know, maybe 2 hours is a little too tight of a time to get all those things done. Maybe 3 hours, they're able to get all those shopping and dining and services performed. So they'll have that option. But again, the expectation is that someone who wants to park for a long term is going to go to a spot that's less expensive for them to park in a long-term basis. We've known throughout this, and I said it last year and I'll say it again tonight, we've known that what we roll out is not going to be perfect and that there will need to be tweaks and revisions made. And so that has always been our expectation. We've always made a commitment that we would come back. We're going to be monitoring. We have a 90-day commitment. to look at the system, look at the changes, evaluate, and come back and make the necessary adjustments that we know will need to be made. So with that, I just ask again that the council stay the course with that you allow for the full implementation of the parking plan. We have a 90-day intensive evaluation period. We identify issues that need to be resolved. We come back and make those adjustments, and we evaluate again. This is always meant to be an iterative, actively managed project. We've been working on it for nearly 3 years. I think we've demonstrated that we are very engaged and very actively involved with it, and it's our expectation that we're not going to just drop the ball once the switch is flipped. The necessary feedback loop is an integral part of it. So I just want to offer that again this evening for the council and the community's consideration. I did want to also clarify that not all parking issues are related to the parking study changes. There are issues that people have with the parking system that they've had for a couple years, that they'll continue to have, that really have no relation to the changes that we adopted last year. For instance, if a business wants a loading zone in front of their business, that's fine, but that has nothing to do with the parking study or any of our changes here. That's another issue, separate from the parking study. What we did last year when we were here is we had a sheet that I still have of our parking lot issues. And for the counselors that participated in this process last year, you may remember this. And these were, at that time, we really had a lot of residents coming and talking about issues. So it was snow emergency, tour buses, resident stickers, construction worker, visitor parking, snow emergency, and dedicated spaces. These were issues that we call the parking lot issues. Again, these were things that came up during the course of the discussion of the parking study. You know, a service loading zone would be something that would show up on that list outside of the changes we've been talking about. So I just offer that as a reminder that all issues are not parking study issues, and so you might just ask yourselves, does the comprehensive parking plan create this concern? You know, the meters around Steve's Market? Yes. The comprehensive parking plan clearly creates that concern in those issues. A loading zone in front of another business? No. That's an issue that's just out there. You can deal with it now. You could have dealt with it a year ago, or you could deal with it next year. It's just, I want to make that distinction between things that were adopted by the ordinance and things that were not. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you have, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Tom. Councilors, any questions at this point? Councilor Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Tom, thank you for the shortened down synopsis.
Sure.
Essentially, 'cause I was one of the councilors that had the opportunity to listen to the full presentation last year. I have a question about the 90-day evaluation period. You had referenced that in terms of after the implementation, we're going to go through a 90-day period. Who's going to be involved in the monitoring of that, and what methods are going to be utilized to evaluate the different components and aspects of the plan?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, Councilor Prevey. It's sort of a two-way piece of it. One of it is people letting us know about issues that they have. So we established an email address, parking@salem.com. That will be a primary means for people to send in their issues or concerns. We are aware of areas where there is change or greater amounts of change, and so those would be areas that we're monitoring more closely, actively on the city side. So for instance, Don and Gloria, as the meter control folks, are out there and can be documenting certain issues or certain utilization issues that are out there. Jim and myself and others can be out there looking at issues that are there. Some of our technology, the smart meters, they allow us, they generate data for us that we can evaluate the utilization of the spaces that have smart meters. Similarly, with the multi-space pay stations that we have, those will be automatically generating data that we'll be able to evaluate in terms of utilization. But bottom line, it's sort of shoe leather out on the street, looking at doing some inventories, just like we did during the study. What we did is we went out on 3 different dates and we counted the spaces that were being utilized. So it's looking at, again, city staff going out, monitoring, actively counting, evaluating, using data that is being generated from some of the technology that we're incorporating, and then looking to the community to provide feedback to us in some direction as well about issues and concerns they have.
Mr. Chairman.
Hold on a second, Council Frieden?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Council Siegel, you had your hand up first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Tom. I've got about 4 questions, so please bear with me. First couple are pretty basic. What is the actual downtown area? I think that was kind of a bone of contention with a lot of people here.
The downtown, Mr. Chair, Councilor Siegel, the study area included, I can grab the map.
Sure.
Actually, I'm going to grab, it's difficult to see on this, but the downtown area is essentially the B5 zoning district.
Okay.
In the study, we also included part of the McIntyre district and part of the area around the Salem Common, because we were also looking at the adjacent residential districts, residential neighborhoods. We extended down, the B5 zone extends into the northern part of the Point neighborhood. That area was also included in the study. There is the sort of down towards the police station is B5. We didn't go down to the police station area, but it did include Riley Plaza, Margin Street, Gedney, and then over to the common area. So the changes were not, I don't know, I don't have a really strong visual here, but it's hard to see. So there we have, you can see, we extend Derby Street down to the Custom House. This is Harbor Street and the Point, Margin Street, Riley Plaza, coming up somewhere in north. This is where there's changes going on. We didn't recommend any changes in the residential neighborhoods adjacent. It seemed to be that the areas that had residential only parking there were working fine in terms of the utilization.
Go ahead.
Okay. Second, you stated there were 700 public and 1,000 private. I assume the 700 public in the garage?
There's 700, at the peak utilization, there's 750 public spaces open.
Okay.
That's throughout the system. Some are on-street, some are off-street lots, some are
Okay.
the off-street garages.
And the private ones are private businesses?
The private spaces are all private spaces. So it could be the lot at Dunkin' Donuts, it could be the lot that a church has. The Jefferson at Salem Station has about 300 spaces.
So the 1,000 was only if people are actually using that business could park there. It's not me coming down for a day. So I wouldn't count that into an open space unless I was going to Dunkin' Donuts, correct?
Right, and the reason, just to expand a little bit upon why we looked at private parking spaces is because there are 1,000 spaces open at the crunch time. It is a supply, it's asphalt that's sitting open. And there are ways to add some of that supply, even though it's privately owned, in making it publicly available. We have not ventured into that, but it is an opportunity. And it happens today, sometimes informally and sometimes formally. There are certain churches that lease out their parking lots during the weekdays to downtown commuters. So that's an arrangement that, the market has already, found a solution to. There's an opportunity, though, to expand that for others as well.
I just have a hard time using that 1,000 spaces because we don't have anything in place. And to throw that in there, it's kind of a fake number. It's definitely incorrect, in my eyes. I see where you're going with it, but we don't have anything in place. So to say there's 1,000 extra parking spaces, I just think is incorrect and misleading. Now, with that said, you also made a comment, I think it was, you asked a bunch of people who did a survey, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, you said something to the effect of price is not an issue?
No, the question was, when considering parking in downtown Salem, what is the most important consideration for you?
Okay.
And there was a list to choose from. Convenience and location, accounted for 76%.
Okay,
10% of the respondents said price was the most important consideration. So 76% of the respondents said the single most important consideration was convenience, location. 10% said that price. And
okay.
the 600 respondents was a good cross-section of people who live, work, and are visiting downtown. I can pull the report out and give you the
Oh,
breakdown.
no, I'm fine with that. My concern is if 76% of the people say price is not an issue, well, no matter what you raise it to, they're still gonna park where they're parking, so I don't know how that's going to affect the comprehensive plan, where only 10% say price is an issue, and they may move. So maybe 10% will move, but the 75%, if they're saying price is not an issue, you could raise it to $3 an hour.
So if I could just clarify that,
Sure.
it's not, again, it was asking what is the single most important
Okay.
issue. So it was drawing out the most important issue. I think it's accepted, at least within the report and among the study, that everyone has their own trade-offs between price and convenience.
Sure.
What I was surprised by was that I thought the price would be more significant for a greater percentage, and it's not. The convenience is the more important thing. Price is still a factor. Everyone has that trade-off.
Sure.
I, for one, I'm cheap. I'm willing to walk 10 minutes to save $1. Other people, they're willing to pay $10 in order to save a minute. So we each have our own decision that we make there, but it's not saying that it's one or the other. And that what I just want to also explain that Salem is not the first community to do this. It's not like we're breaking new ground. It's been demonstrated in other communities, and that the pricing piece, it has proven effective to make the system work better. And again, we're striving towards that one space open per block as the outcome. Right now, we have a number up until the adoption last year, we had a number of factors that were working against us, such as pricing, such as some gaps in our communication, such as having some limited options. We didn't have a low-cost monthly parking option, et cetera.
I just have one more quick question.
Councilor Siegel.
When you stated at the end about expectations, the expectations of people, and I would assume people who work downtown rather spend $25 a month to buy a pass versus parking for 4 hours in front of a store. And I understand that. But how does that expectation go into visitors? Salem is swamped with visitors every September, October, November. Now, those visitors aren't going to come and buy passes. They're coming on a day trip. They're going to park wherever they can find a spot, and they're not going to care what the prices are. And now, if I'm a visitor and I see a 4-hour spot, I don't care if that's in front of a business. So you're basically tying up in front of a business. And I don't know if you guys looked at this. You're tying up a business from people who are out of towners visiting, because you're right. If I work downtown, I would definitely go for a cheaper alternative. But if I'm visiting, $4, whatever it is, $10 to park for a day is cheap. I just want to park and find a parking spot.
So, Mr. Chair, Councilor Siegel, one of the things is guiding visitors to the better parking option.
Sure.
So that's part of our communication on a website that hasn't been launched yet. But it's saying, if you're coming to Salem to spend the day, park in a garage or park in the Church Street lot. You're going to save money. You don't have to move your car. You don't have to worry about getting a ticket. The worst experience for anyone, whether you're coming, for lunch or coming for a day trip, is to come back after having a great experience and you find a ticket sitting there on your windshield.
Had it many times.
So it's guiding, providing that information to folks, working with Kate through Destination Salem, letting folks know that the best parking option for them is not at a meter. It's not in a lot other than the Church Street lot. It's getting them into the garage or the Church Street lots, so they don't have to worry about a ticket or worry about moving their car. You're right, though. I mean, if someone comes along, they could park for 4 hours and they could come back and feed that meter. Sure. What it is it goes looking at our enforcement, too. Right now, enforcement has been by the meter. What we're going to be enforcing is by the block. And so if someone has been on the block for more than 4 hours, they'll get a ticket unless they actually leave the block and park on a different block face. So it's it's looking again to balance the different user groups that we have, guiding people towards the solution that makes the most sense for them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Tom, when do you expect to put the meters on these posts?
Well, Mr. Chair, Councilor O'Keefe, I'm going to look at Jim because we just met on this
Basic
afternoon.
question. I mean, when are you going to put the
So we
meters?
have, let's see, we have our smart meters, our test pilot of the smart meters has proven to be very successful, so we're going to implement those, and those are due June 15th, is that right?
All right, now another question.
And so June is when the technology will be ready.
When in June?
I believe the second week is when we're.
Okay. Mr. Chairman?
Councilor
Third
O'Keefe.
question. Second question. I did not support this plan last year. I was one of the 4 votes against this particular plan. However, the mayor has asked us reasonably to wait until this evaluation 90-day. So when did the 90 days start, and when will it conclude, so the council then could have some indication of what to do? When are we going to start? We put the meters in, we put the posts in. Does that start the 90 days?
Mr. Chair, Councilor O'Keefe, no. The 90-day starts when we sort of flip the switch. So the rollout goes like this. So the polls have gone in.
Hold on one second.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the polls have gone in, but nothing has changed. What we're doing next is there's a software issue in the garages that's being addressed that will allow the rates in the garages to change. That will happen first. Then we will be marketing the low-cost monthly option, this $25 monthly pass. That will be second. And after that, the equipment will come, so we will be able to install the meters and change the rates and the pricing. We have sort of the pieces waiting in the queue. So the date would be sometime in June. Let's say July 1st. July 1st, everything's done. So then the 90 days starts.
So the council then could reasonably tweak the ordinance if it wishes, July 1st.
No, the 90-day evaluation would start July 1st, so we'd have July, August, and September.
So we're talking September now before the meters go in.
No. What I'm saying is that everything is installed. Once everything is installed, then we start the 90 days.
So you're going to put the meters
So
in.
we're saying that by the end of June, everything will be installed, the rates will be changed, the parking fees will have changed, the signage will be installed. So I'm picking July 1st as the date that our 90 days starts, because everything will be done July 30th. July 1st, we have the 90 days that starts. So
I know you can't speak for the mayor, but that was the mayor's intent, her letter to the city council, the 90-day evaluation period. Is that what she meant, starting July 1st? I didn't get that impression.
the 90
Hold on, Councilor. Tom, behind you, Lynn Duncan.
Yes, I will speak for the mayor on that. The 90-day starts when the comprehensive plan is implemented. And the implementation, you've heard from Tom, should be in place to start by the end of June. So we're going to say July 1, the 90-day clock starts. July, August,
So-
September.
Go ahead, Councilor, you have
So
the
if you
floor.
put a meter in front of Steve's Market, July 1st, when are you going to saw it off with the post if the council decides it's not going to go forward? When is that
October
gonna
1.
happen? October 1? They're going to have the meter from July 1st?
I guess what I'm saying is we're going to evaluate, and then we will bring the evaluation results
That's unacceptable,
back to you.
Madam City Planner, I think. I mean,
That's
this
the
90
90
days could wind up 6 months. It's starting, all right, I just
Councilor,
can't.
we'll put it to a vote
My
later.
point, I don't want to amend the ordinance. However, I'm not feeling warm about what you're planning to do here about handling some of these problems that should be addressed right now.
If I could just clarify, Councilor O'Keefe, nothing is changing until everything is installed. So
When is it
So-
going to change?
that's what I'm saying. In June, all the equipment gets installed, and so then we flip the switch July 1st. So just as it was in November, just as it was in February, just as it is today, people are paying 50 cents an hour at the meter, They get a parking ticket, it's $15. You know, the enforcement hours are what they have been. What we're saying is, we need to install the equipment, make changes in the garages. That's all gonna happen by the end of June. And then we'll have, you know, the 3 different prices on street, the different rates in the garages, the increased fee for a parking ticket. That'll start July 1st. So the change will be July 1st. From that point, there's the 90 days. There's nothing for us to evaluate right now. Do you see?
But you see, the sentiment of the city council is not to put meters in some of these places, yet evidently you're gonna put them in the end of June. They're gonna be effective July 1st, and sometime after that, we're gonna cut the post off, take the meter away. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm just
Is that a
repeating.
yes or no?
No,
No, okay.
it's,
That's a yes, that's a no. That's not gonna happen? Is that what you're telling?
no,
you
no,
all
no.
set?
What I'm saying no to, Councilor O'Keefe, is that it's 90 days from when we complete the implementation of everything. There's no change until we implement everything. Once that implementation is complete, the 90 days start. So I'm saying July 1st that starts. Up until July 1st, there's no change. People are paying 50 cents. The change happens, then we have the 90 days. The city planner said that we would be back with the recommendations for changes at that point.
Council, before we go any further, Jason, you had a question on this particular point?
I didn't have a question. I just wanted to try to clarify for Councilor O'Keefe. We can't have a review period until there's something to review.
Right.
So in July 1st, everything is going to be implemented that the council approved. After 90 days, we've agreed to review that. Now, to try to address some of your concerns relative to the Margin Street, Steve's Market Post Office area, we've already, I think everyone's in agreement, I think there's consensus that those are not going to be placed there. So with the mayor, the council, and probably a few people in this room. So that issue aside, setting that issue aside, we'd like to have a 90-day review period. And you can't review it, it's not going to be fully implemented until, we hope, the target date is July 1st.
Madam Chairman, question of Mr. Silva? He's answering my question?
Councilors?
In other words, you're gonna leave the poles there, posts there, put the meters on, and then take them off. Is that what I'm hearing? Why don't you take them off now?
Councilor,
Cut the posts off now.
hold on.
What area are you speaking about?
For example, Steve's Market, and the post office.
There are not going to be meters put in front of Steve's.
But why leave the posts there?
The posts are going to be removed.
When?
We'll get to,
Oh, we'll get there, okay.
Council, hold on a second. Hold on, please.
Listen,
Everybody, okay.
Madam,
All right, everybody will have their chance to talk when it's time, please. All right, Jason, you all set? Okay, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you. In discussions over this, I do business in a lot of cities around eastern Massachusetts, some of which have implemented parking plans, and I use as a reasonably good example, in Newburyport, they moved away from almost entirely unregulated parking in many areas of the downtown to metered parking and meters similar to, but working better than the Church Street lot meters, and various other timed and smart options throughout the downtown. One of the things I noticed here in looking at this and having discussed it with you guys and such is all the meter, and I think maybe this might be the source of some of the issue here too, is all the meters throughout the town are pretty much 4 hours everywhere, and in any place where there is a meter as part of this plan. And I think that maybe just sufficient attention wasn't paid by the consultants at the time to the fact that there's a legitimate need around various areas, not all over the city, of course, but through various areas, there is a need for shorter-term parking, mostly intended for the in and out businesses, and that's just part of the everyday fabric of kind of Salem life, as opposed to 4 hours for the people who come into town to go to a restaurant or do tourism or go to a trip to the museum. 4 hours is terrific for them. The garages are great for somebody who's coming in on a full day trip because, again, it's attractive pricing and all the like. But there are a lot of places around town where it's mainly used by Salem people who come up, pull up, run in, do their business, get out, get in the car. And even if those 15-minute or 30-minute spaces became 15-minute or 30-minute metered spaces, it's still better than the alternative that the plan put forward, which is a 4-hour space. So, you know, in looking at this, I think, and in addressing this going forward out of the evaluation period or however this gets addressed, I think we can solve some of these problems by just seeing that there's a need for shorter term than 4-hour parking. However, however the city chooses to regulate it, whether it be by meters or by signage or however. So, and that approach generally works with the 4-hour meter overall is a good thing. I come downtown myself on the weekends and, you know, don't get to park any place special or anything like that, so I have to deal with whatever the meters allow me to park at. And 2 hours often isn't enough, so having a big inventory of 4-hour parking is a wonderful thing. It's, you know, it's just more that if I am running, and Steve's at the post office being the example, if I'm running into the post office to mail a package, I only need about 15 or 20 minutes, and pretty much anybody who's gonna park in those spaces only needs 15 or 20 minutes, so it just, if that becomes part of the solution to this, that would probably be a good way for us to go.
Hold on, before,
Just
Council
quickly,
Sergeant?
And I mean, this is my own hindsight thinking also, is if, looking at one of our goals to create more open spaces, right? If we have spaces in some areas that are turning over every 15 minutes, then people are able to use them a long time. I'm just looking at having somebody stay there 4 hours when they were turning over every 15 minutes or every half an hour or so. And that, I say, if our goal is to create more open spaces, it seemed like we'd be creating more with them turning over every 15 minutes than somebody staying there for the 4 hours, especially near the post office where there's a longer term lot right next door to it. That isn't always the case, so that's just something I was thinking even on my own reason for voting also, so, thank you.
Councilor,
Council Siegel?
I'm good for now.
Okay.
Councilor,
Well, as you know, I haven't yet commented here.
right, could I make one more comment?
Tom, go ahead.
Sorry, just to respond to the last two comments about time limits. Again, we're looking to shift away from sort of an arbitrary choice of a time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, to creating this uniform system. The system that we have out there that we're trying to clean up is the result of good decisions made in isolation incrementally over 40 years. That's how we wound up with 7 different types of parking regulation on the Hawthorne Boulevard. The paradigm, and it is a shift in paradigm, it's shifting from a time limit to pricing as what's guiding it. And while there's, I can think of a cafe, on Front Street that, 15 minutes would be nice. Or, another shop on a different street where it'd be nice to have, a 15-minute spot if I were that business person and if I thought of that space out in front of me as my space. But it's not. It's the community space. And right next door to that business is another business that, maybe likes to have, isn't happy that there's a 15-minute space there. Maybe it's a gift shop and they want people to be able to park there 30 minutes. Maybe there's a hair salon that specializes in fancy permanents and colorings and they would like for there to be a 2-hour space. And they're right next door to that other business. So what we have is we have different businesses that have sort of their optimal parking time, but we have a community asset, a community resource that's shared by all. And so part of it is looking at being equitable across the system, as well as being fair, but it's also being simple and rational for folks to come in. So they don't have to think about, is this a 15-minute spot, is this a 30-minute spot? Is it an hour spot? And if I'm, a business that has been accustomed to having 15-minute spaces in front of my spot, in front of my shop, my neighbor may have been unhappy that there were 15-minute spaces in front of my shop for all these years. So it's looking to have an equitable, balanced playing field that's easy for people to interact with.
Thank you. My turn. Number one, when we redistricted the wards last year, which became effective as of the 1st of this year, I went from representing almost none of the downtown businesses to representing almost all of them. At that point, I've since had to come up to speed real fast with their needs and their other pieces of this picture that doesn't fit them. I'm also one of those people that voted against this plan from the get-go only because of the fact that there are, not because I'm against the principle of what you're trying to accomplish, but there's been so many component little pieces along the way that were not addressed. For example, delivery spaces for people, all right? We pride ourselves in how thriving we want the downtown mall to be, and yet at the same time, we don't give them any real place where they can have deliveries without driving down the mall. And we keep on screaming we want the mall to be pedestrian. So, I mean, there's so many contradictory things here. Then all of a sudden, I'm in possession of over 3,000 signatures. I've got another 1,000 here to add to the 3,000, which brings it over 4,000 now. There were only 2,970 folks that voted at the last election. That tells me an awful lot right in itself, right? And my entire purpose of this, even though I voted against this, I don't want to dissect the plan before it's had a chance to work. That's not my intention. However, as I told you before, as a matter of fact, I think I told Lynn Duncan, my intention was to remove, before it even started, the meters from in front of the post office, from in front of Steve's, and on Gedney Street. I've already said that from the get-go. That's my intention. Beyond that, even though I have other problems with everything here, I'm willing to say, let's give it the 90 days from that period, and let's see where it turns out. I'm even in receipt of a letter from the mayor, who also doesn't want to, I think she used the word dissect it, or she doesn't want to start pulling it apart. Right? Let me just read the last sentence in the third paragraph, and this is from the mayor. While I am hesitant to begin pulling apart pieces of this very comprehensive downtown parking plan prior to it being implemented, I do not believe it makes sense to install meters at these two locations. And that's dated April 19th, 2012 from the mayor. I also agree with that. My intent, if you do not do it voluntarily, and I'm going to go to a council vote, to have those meters removed from the post office, Steve's, and Gedney Street. That's my intent at this point. I've since heard from Councilor McCarthy, who's at a different meeting right now, who did not have it. He wants to talk to you about the Essex Street cleaners, right opposite the Hawthorne Hotel. I cannot speak for him, but he told me essentially that he didn't know that that was going to have meters put in there. And I believe he feels the same way on that one location. We could come up with 1 million here, spot here, spot here, spot here. And that's not fair to the plan. All right? However, those are my feelings. That's where I want to go with this. And that is my intention to get that right from the get-go, so we don't even have the meters there. The posts come out, we fill them with cement, we don't even think about that, and then we go to the implementation June 1st of the rest of the program. And we give it the 90 days, and then we'll see what happens. My question at that point would become, who evaluates it? And what's the criteria for determining if it worked or did not work? All right, and other than, was there an available space or not an available space? I mean, who's going to be the evaluating team? The merchants? Because if we listen to the merchants, we want them to succeed, of course. All right, and I wish Renus were here at this point, but at the same time, who is it that does this evaluation? Right?
Mr. Chair, and Renus is at the licensing board meeting. He'll be here if that wraps up.
Right.
I do want to just note that the chamber went on record last year supporting the full implementation of this plan. They've been informed and part of the process from day one. To your point about the meters being removed on Margin Street, I don't think there's any disagreement with that. I think the mayor and the body here has decided that
Gedney Street as well?
Gedney, I have not been part of that discussion, so I don't know what.
I want them off of Gedney Street.
Well, so that's new information to me tonight. But I know that there's, that the ones in front of Steve's Market on Margin Street and in front of the post office, that's not an issue. Regarding the evaluation, we have a measurable metric. You know, are we meeting our one space per block? That's one piece that we evaluate, and it's either a yes or a no. And it's not yes all day or no all day. It's likely to be that parts of the day maybe we're meeting and in parts of the day we're not. And we gotta look at that. So that's data that we collect by going out and counting actively on the city part. There is an input part coming from residents and businesses and community members to let us know about issues that they have or things that aren't working well. And so we can hone in on those areas as well. So the evaluation team will be comprised of the folks that have been working on this. We have kind of a blend. We have the working group that guided the study and the recommendations and the ordinance changes, and then we have an implementation team. So we would circle back to a subset of the working group and the implementation team to look at the issues that have come up. Some of it may be things that we need to address by communicating differently. Some of it may be things that we need to adjust by making some other changes from a regulatory perspective.
My position here is when I have over 4,000 people sign a petition saying to get them out, I have to listen, because that's more people than showed up for the last general election. All right, and that we need to listen to. All right, there's no question on that one. Councilor Siegel.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to Mr. Daniels. Going back on Councilor O'Keefe's question about the 90-day review. Now, I get it. It starts in July, goes 90 days. But can we have a time frame in stone? Because the way you're making it sound right now is you're going to have all these groups go out, do evaluations. How long is it going to take for us to get those results? Is it going to be another 90 days from the day we do it? Or are we going to have results within a month? If after 90 days we have all this, there's a meeting, it doesn't work in certain places, what's the time frame? I mean, it's great to say we have a 90-day review. That 90-day could be 6 months, could be a year. We need time frames on what works, what doesn't. You get the data, you've got 2 weeks to figure out, all right, this is a high priority problem, okay, or everything's going great. But we need a time frame, in case there are problems. There may be, there may not be. But we need something in there if there are problems to address and address quickly, and not make, if there are problems, businesses suffer for another 90 days.
Right. Mr. Chair, Councilor Siegel, I think that's a point very well made, because we don't want that to happen. And that's not meant to happen. So during the 90 days, it's not as though we're not doing an evaluation and waiting for 90 days. We're evaluating as it's going during that 90-day period. The 90 days, you know, we don't expect all issues to be identified within 90 days either.
Oh, I agree. Okay.
But that there'll be some set of issues that are identified within that 90 days. And then I don't see it as being, you know, another 90 days to come back before this body. I think it's, you know, it's a matter of by 90 days, we will have a good sense of what that subset of issues is comprised of. We meet, our team meets and evaluates that and comes forward with recommendations to
Tom,
this
I
body.
think Lynn would like to add a little bit of something here.
I think what I'm hearing, Councilor Siegel, is that the council, and I'm sure the audience here, would like a very specific time period for when we will come back with the results of our monitoring. And I think we could make Tom's probably going to shoot me. We haven't actually discussed this.
I left my weapon at home, Lynn, seriously.
Yeah, we'll come back with the data in 2 weeks.
Okay.
See, my thinking there is, I know exactly where you're going with this. July 1 starts a 90-day clock. October 1 essentially is the end of that 90 days. Then you're going to evaluate the pros and cons of what happened in the past 90 days. By the time you implement any changes, it's going to be November 1, and the season's over for all the merchants. That's my concern. All right? If it failed, and I'm hoping it does not, don't get me wrong, I mean, yeah, this is supposed to help everybody. That's understood. But if it did fail, it's too late. We're shutting the door after the horses have gotten out. Councilor Turiel, you had a question?
Yeah, I think it would be a great help in this, that if we, in the process of this evaluation, I know we have a 90-day target here, and, you know, there's a target for a fast turnaround and such, but if any glaring issues stand out immediately or within a short time, I think, you know, in a way, that 90-day period should be iterative. That if we're coming up with issues, they should be identified clearly and publicly, and we should have a chance to resolve any major issues that arise right away rather than just waiting. So if it becomes a big problem someplace, like if it turns out that, you know, just to pull a completely almost random thing, if it turns out that getting rid of the really short-term spaces in front of City Hall for people who run in and make a payment, if turning those into 4-hour meters causes a problem, we should be taking a look at that right off the bat. If we're suddenly generating lots and lots of people circling the block looking for a spot. So, you know, we need to be paying attention to these issues right from the get-go, and not just compiling a list for 3 months and then targeting it afterwards. I think that'll increase everybody's comfort quite a bit.
Right. No, Mr. Chair, Councilor Turrell, I completely agree with you. That's our intent.
All right, any other further questions at this point? Oh, Councilor Prevey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tom, the communication aspect of this entire plan, the implementation of it, where do things stand? I mean, obviously now we're, you know, as of tomorrow, we're starting May, and we're looking at sometime at the end of June. There's signs that are involved, there's information that's going to be generated. Is there a plan put in place that's going to now be triggered from the communication aspect?
Mr. Chair, Councilor Prevey, we do, excuse me, have a communications plan, and we're, that includes, you know, website, brochures, you know, going with SATV, information out through there, email blasts, you know, a variety of different media outreach tools. The Salem News has agreed to do articles as each piece rolls out as well. Parkingatsalem.com is something that's out there. What we're looking for is we met today and have information on 2 pieces of the equipment that's coming in. Excuse me, there's one other date that we're waiting for before we can finalize the timeline for implementation. Once we have that, we'll be able to release that formal timeline out there. I'm going to go back out and sort of talk to folks at various groups as well, you know, through the chamber, et cetera, about what's changing in the timeline. So we have a number of different tools and resources as part of the communications plan that will be coming out. We're waiting. We want to get the timeline set so that we're communicating the correct information.
Okay. As part of that, you mentioned also signage is going to be involved in
Yes.
terms of directing visitors and that type of stuff. Have those things been ordered? Is there a plan in terms of, you know, making sure that those things are put up so everything kind of starts falling into place?
Yep. Mr. Chair, Councilor Prevey, the signage package is one part of our procurement process. So we don't have the bids out for that, but we have the scope. We'll be getting pricing on that as well.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Tom, I'm going to open it up to the floor right now. But what I'd like to do at this point is, could you and Lynn grab a seat if you'd like? Because I think many of the questions may be directed at you, possibly.
Yes, I would like to.
Well, hold on, Joan. Joan, hold on. I'm going to start at the corner over here before we come over. Jason or Jim, would you like to have a chair up here? Because they may ask you questions as well.
Good evening.
Kate, there's room up here if you feel so inclined.
She looks comfortable.
Okay. All right. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask anybody that wishes to speak to please, I'm going to start over here in the corner. Come to the podium, identify yourself, and then state your case. So, over here. Okay.
Well, before I move over there, may I introduce some people to you?
They'll have their opportunity, Joan.
Mr. Daniels, I would like to introduce some people to you. And thank you so much for accepting Council's now C revision plan. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. Was there a microphone?
The microphone.
Okay. Dr.
Okay.
Jones Abkar, 6 Phelps Street, Salem, Massachusetts. No glasses. Boy, am I in trouble. But I think I can do it. Yeah, I can. I think I wanted to introduce you, first of all, to Steve of Steve's Market, Steve, who is the son of Steve, who founded it 100 years ago, to his you're his sister, right? Jody, who wrote the letter to the Salem News, which started all this, our 4,000 signature petition. And in your name, please, this is another sister that owns Steve's Market, Steve's Quality Liquors. Kathleen. Then we'd like to go, so remember, this is Gedney Street. So we're moving down now, we've done Margin, which is the front of Steve Market. You've been down there.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't seen you, they'd love to speak with you about this, but they.
I've spoken to Steve on the phone in the past, so.
What one of our concerns was, and what puzzled us here, is that throughout all of this, no one ever walked down into those stores. I think I sent this to Joan Lovely today and said, how would this impact you if we put 4-hour meters here? What would it do to your business? That is the greatest pain these people have felt who have been here 100 years, and the Injemy family is, what are we? Why didn't they think to come and ask us? And that's the same thing that Carlo felt, who owns the four-store building right next to it on Gedney Street. He said, I've been here 36 years. I think you've seen his letter in the patch, but I'm going to read it to you now. I didn't finish my introductions. These are the 4 young barbers that work at New Life Barber Cuts on Gedney Street. Roberto couldn't make it tonight, he's ill. They have 11 children among them, and they work very hard day and night. I pass there every day, and it's never empty. They really like to have that access in and out, and people do, sometimes the cuts is.
Joan, can I interrupt you for a second?
What?
Are you gentlemen going to speak
Yeah,
this
stand
evening?
up. Yeah, well,
Are you,
I'd like
no.
Oh.
Are they going to be speaking this evening?
No, but these are
If
human.
they're going to be speaking, they could do all this.
No,
Joan.
I didn't know. Would you like to speak? You did, I think you would like to speak because you managed the whole project. Yeah, you could say a few words, yeah. They're
All right,
here.
Joan, let them introduce themselves, please.
Well, I was gonna let them stand up and do so, but anyway, what I'd like to do now is read you these few remarks I made, and this is not meant in ill intent, but it may help with some of the other issues you're facing as you try to implement this law elsewhere on other streets.
Joan, and the other thing, could you address your comments to the chair, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And they're a little harsh now because they see the change has taken place, so I almost don't want to say them, but it is notification. This is how they...
Joan.
Okay,
Up
facing
here.
the chair.
Up here.
Did any of the 4 outside consultants, the 14 members of the study group, with its most 2 businessmen as far as we've been able to identify, that's the head of Rockefellers and the man who has a little stock market company down on Front Street, did any of them, or the counselors, or the mayor, ever visit these businesses in an area that is not really considered to be downtown? And that's what I want to tell you. A lot of these people thought when they saw downtown parking, they didn't think it was downtown. TCU, you've lived here all your life. Did you think it was downtown?
Hold
No.
on, please.
They never thought it was downtown. So
Joan,
when-
please, hold
Okay.
on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, changing.
SATV is high-tech, we are not. Go ahead, Joan.
Okay. Okay, and there, you'll agree that for many, you're a native Salemite, and you didn't think it was downtown. I think, Mr. Sargent, Councilor Sargent, you said, I didn't know it went down that far, the plan. Who else told me that today? Well, Councilor Joan Lovely said to me, actually, you're right. I don't think of it as downtown either. So when they would see little things in the paper, these people didn't think you were even thinking of them. I just wanted to make that point. Okay, so then maybe, did you ever go down and say, what would be the impact on your business if we put 4-hour meters in front of it?
Joan.
4-hour
you have
meters,
to
I'm so
address
sorry.
the chair, please.
Okay. Some of these people, including the mayor, shop at Steve's Market.
We all do.
And it would have needed but a moment's glance, not a one-year process, to see that 4-hour meters in that area are, I'm sorry to say it, absurd and revenue negative. I'd be a lighter tone.
Joan,
Oh,
will you
okay.
please not
Okay,
address
4-hour
the
meters
2 of
in
them,
front of the
please.
post office after 1 year's deliberation, I have a question mark and an exclamation point. Now, here is the letter of Carlo Manzo. He immigrated from Italy. He founded this business 36 years ago. He has written, he's ill right now, and I think part of his illness is really the impact of how he has felt about not being consulted about this. And what he has written in the, on the patch today is, The patrons petition, only the city council, which passed the ordinance on the comprehensive parking plan, has the power to reverse it. And Mr. Councilor Sosnowski has said on this, they may well do this for us. A patron's petition on behalf of the businesses on not just Margin Street, but also on Gedney Street, which runs alongside Steve's Market, Steve's Quality Liquors, Salon Andina, New Life Barbershop, North Shore Driving School, and Extra Effort Personal Trainers, now has over 4,000 signatures. The petition requests the city council to revise the parking ordinance to eliminate all 4-hour meters and general meters adjacent to these businesses. Here's Carlo's message to you. I own a small building on Gedney Street that I bought and renovated in 1994. A responsible tax-paying businessman, I maintain the building in excellent condition. In one of the spaces there, I run Salon Andina, which I have operated in Salem for 36 years. I have 5 employees who rely solely on the income from their work in my salon. I rent space to 3 other businesses, New Life Cuts Barbershop, North Shore Driving School, and Extra Effort Personal Trainers. The owner of New Life Barbershop employs 4 other young men who are here for you to see. The 5 barbers among them have 11 children whom they support with their work. The salon and barbershop provide service to a large number of the citizens of Salem as well as other nearby towns. Patrons' ease of access in and out of the shops is critical to serving them in sessions which can be as little as 20 minutes. Especially is this true of the many elderly salon patrons. At North Shore Driving School, the instructors have training cars which use the space in front of the store to pick up and return their driver trainees. 4-hour parking at the meters would prevent our patrons' access and choke the lifeblood out of our businesses. Do we really want these businesses closed? Another empty, neglected building? Less taxes for the city? Fewer services for the citizens of Salem, in Salem? The petition in the city council is still available for your signature at our businesses. I hope it's now not necessary, as is information for contacting relevant city officials. All of us wish to thank the citizens of Salem for their continuing widespread support. We invite you to the meeting of the council subcommittee on ordinances on the parking plan to be held in City Hall on April 30th at 6:30 p.m. And I close on that note, and I don't know if you would like, anyone, whoever wishes to speak of the
Joan,
group.
they will have their opportunities.
I know, but I wanted to just say, I'm saying that.
It's been said more than once.
I didn't want to know what order.
Okay.
And we want to thank you. We can't thank you enough, Councilor Sosnowski. We can't thank Councilor O'Keefe and Councilor Prevey especially, who had the insight to vote against this whole thing in the beginning. I mean, he saw the problems. I think I saw that this day was coming. And to be honest with you, 2 councilors have told me, we really didn't know what it was going to do. We really didn't understand it when we voted.
Right.
And I
Thank you.
think that may be the case. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For the record, let it be known, Council President Joan Lovely is with us this evening.
She was going to be coming. She's over. She has.
Well, I think she's here. You definitely do need those glasses.
I know. Kathy.
All right. Anybody else over in here wanting to speak?
Hi, Jody Fenton.
Hi, Jody.
Hi, I'm from Steve's Market. I just wanted to come up and thank everybody that's worked really hard for us, including the mayor's office. They were very receptive to hearing our complaints and addressing our issues, to our wonderful counselor, and everybody else that really sees that we'll be put out of business if those meters don't leave. And also, I want to thank all the citizens. We're really humbled by everybody that's come out and supported us. And I think that says a lot. And they didn't know about it. We didn't know about it. And I hope that we mean a lot to this community. I'm shocked and surprised that no one came to the store to tell us that we were part of this, because we didn't think we were downtown. But I think the town and the councilors and the mayor have done a great service to us by addressing this issue and addressing our needs. And I hope that we can continue with your support. I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you all.
Anyone else over here? TC?
T.C. Riley Goggin, 9 Wisteria Street. And I look and I think about the B5 district, and I'm not quite sure how far it is going to extend, but I believe right now that it does go up as far as where St. Joseph Church is. I also know that Hawthorne Boulevard, down in that area, Immaculate Conception, I see posts down in that area, so even in front of churches, the meters will be running. But I know on Sundays, I guess evidently it will not be. The one thing that has bothered me with this particular plan, and I went to most of the meetings, and no, I did not realize that downtown went as far over as Steve's Market or in that area. I really more or less thought it started when we got onto Washington Street by Dunkin' Donuts and up in that area. But the extension of weekdays, nights, 6 to 8 o'clock bothers me greatly. I come to a lot of meetings, and a lot of other people come also, including the council and many other people that come to downtown meetings at the annex. An additional 2 hours from 6 to 8 means that if you're coming to meetings, you will be paying the meter also. And the closer you are to City Hall, the more it's going to cost. As far as going to a less expensive place to park my car, I could go down to the South Harbor Garage for only 25 cents. I could go to Museum Place, I believe it's going to be 50 cents. But I'll be quite honest, I'm not looking for convenience or location. I'm looking for safety. So in all probability, if it is not changed, I will probably pay the additional money because my health and my safety is that important. But right now, I hope you take a very good look at this and realize that if something needs to be tweaked, in other words, I look at the Salem school system right now, and I'm not deviating. The Salem school system waited too long to tweak some of the things that came in from MCAS, and they found themselves in a great deal of trouble. If you don't have the immediate results, in other words, I believe in not Salem, a street, I believe it was called Flint Street, where the council has a right to put a one-way in place. And that was supposed to be for either 30 or 60 days. That was, some people complained, and it was immediately changed on the council through the executive office and the police department, if I remember correctly. So what I'm saying, if things need tweaking and things need change, I hope you do it immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Council Chairman, my name is John T. Rodriguez. I'm one of the barbers, one of the 6 barbers at
Could you say your name again, please?
John T. It's Y-A-N-C-Y.
Okay.
Rodriguez. R-O-D-R-I-G-U-E-Z.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've spoken in front of a lot of people, but
No problem.
this is a very close point for a lot of the barbers over there. We have been dealing with the parking for a long time right now, and even with Steve Markin and everything, one size fit all approach to all of us is not the right approach, I think, right here, because our barbershop, for example, in our barbershop, we have 10, 15, it could be up to an hour type of turnout. Sometimes we have 1 or 2 people waiting. And some of the other businesses, it's in and out, quick 10, 5 minutes. With us, it's a little bit different. Then you have the other shops, the exercise shop, the exercise business right next to us, they're probably there for an hour. And I think that they should really look at this right now. The approach that they're trying to put right now, in my opinion, will only fill more of the spots and make it harder for a lot of the people to actually be able to park there. And I would rather keep even what we have right now, even with all the problems, than to go forward with the approach that they're trying to implement on us right now. I hope that you guys really take a look at what's going on, especially with the barbers. We're not making a whole lot of money, and as Tom was saying earlier, with the parking, I know that a lot of the barbers, they don't want to go ahead and pay an extra I don't know, $40 a week, or have to walk 5 blocks just to get there. And I know a lot of our clientele have already spoken to us and have told us that if this happened, it'd be harder for them as well. So I would like for all of you to really take a look and really, go deep into this. Thank you.
Okay, hold on a second, please. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll just ask you a question about the parking on your street, because it's been a few years, well, it's been over 20 since I lived in that neighborhood. So, but I lived there for the several years when I first moved to Salem. And my question is, how long do people usually park in front of your, so I know there's a variety of different types of spaces in front of your business and in front of the salon. How long do people usually park there typically? And also, is there a lot of ticket enforcement going on over there right now?
Yeah, that was one of the points that I wanted to bring up. A lot of the people, sometimes we have different services. Sometimes people just want to get touched up, outlined, what they call, in the barbershop industry. That probably takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes. There's harder haircuts, sometimes 30 to 45 minutes. And talking about the tickets, most of the time what we have is people playing musical cars. You have people trying to move from here, and some of the clients, or if they're waiting, they're gonna give us a ticket. It's $15 per ticket right now. You have the people switching the cars within the same block. So I think this approach, all it's gonna do now, musical blocks. Now everybody's gonna be moving to another block.
How long are those spaces right in front of you right now? Are those 15-minute ones?
Those only 50, right in front of the barber shop.
Yep.
It's 15 minutes, across the street, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Hold on a second, please. Councilor O'Keefe.
Through you, a question of the petitioner. What is your business on Gedney Street? What number are you?
13,
13.
13.
And are there posts in front of your establishment now? The meters, are there posts in the sidewalk?
They didn't put it right on the sidewalk, but right in front, I remember seeing when it happened, and they came around 9 o'clock at nighttime while nobody was watching to put them in there.
What is the street next to you going up Margin, up Gedney? What is it? The Steve's parking lot, then is your building that says Costa on the side of it, as I recall. It says, whoever built the thing, it said Costa. What is the street or alley that goes off of Gedney? What is it?
Gedney Court.
What is it?
Gedney Court.
Gedney Court. But there were no meters posts beyond
High
Gedney
Street
Court,
Park,
correct?
behind.
Are the meters posts beyond Gedney to Summer?
Yes, I met a woman who has a condo there, and she's writing a petition right now on Gedney Court, so she said yes. Now, I can't, swear about that.
No.
Well, I need to know specifically what, I need to know,
Councilor.
I need to know.
On that street at all. It's a-
No, on.
It's a one-way street, one-way street.
All conversation, please be directed through the chair. First and foremost, I'm listening here. There are no meters past the businesses, period.
There were posts.
Currently. No, there will be no posts or meters going past the businesses, even if that goes forward. All right? That's as far as it goes. It doesn't go
All right,
past
fine,
that.
that's-
Can I ask something?
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, hold on. Let the record indicate that Councilor McCarthy has joined us.
Thank you.
Councilor Sargent.
I just want to ask you something, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's just, this is kind of part of the study. Now, where do you and your employees park when you come to work?
There's, sometimes some of the employees, right up the street, they have an area
Yeah.
where there's no time limit. Sometimes we park in the big parking lot that's right in front of Steve Market.
Oh, good answer. No, thank you, because that's what part of what's happened downtown a lot is that you don't park in front of your business, but one business employees park in front of another business. And then so the employees are in the spaces all day long back and forth, and the customers don't have enough open spaces. So that's why we're trying to get the employees into long-term spaces, like you said, you went
We
to the
try
big lot.
usually to park in places, longer-term places, but even, as we all know, we've had, even sometimes with Steve, we've parked there for a few minutes. I had to tell him, look, there's no parking. Certain days, we have the whole place flooded. Something like this.
All right, thank you, you're a good sport with your answers, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else over here? Any more barbers? Right? All right, sir, you want to speak? Okay, coming over here on this side. Gentlemen, sir? Come forward and identify yourself for the record, please.
My name is Russell Spodek. I reside at 43 Federal Street, directly across the street from the former probate court. I reside in apartment number 4. I rent. I am absolutely ashamed and disgusted with the lack of communication and the fact that there were, I believe, 5 posts put in to negate residential parking spots on Federal Street. It is tough enough residing there, renting, without having to be treated as a second-class citizen to allow us a reasonable amount of parking. The fact that the city enables or allows police vehicles to literally park wherever they please on that section of Federal Street, the 1 block, whether it's residential or not, the police vehicles are able to get their tickets nullified, whatever, done away with. However, these aren't my regular glasses. There are a few notes that I made in listening to Tom Daniels, correct? Mr. Chairman, first, Mr. Daniels mentioned that they're not breaking new ground with this study that has been implemented after going forth for a total of 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. They've been down this road before. What has been done elsewhere concerning residential parking spots?
Russell, could you?
Yes,
address
I
me?
understand. I was addressing you, I was just
Yes,
looking at you.
he will answer if it goes that way.
There was also initially a notation of June 15th for when these meters were supposed to be done. In that conversation, it got bumped up by 2 weeks to July 1st, at which point there's a 90-day evaluation for a comprehensive plan which begins when the meters start, as was discussed. That 90 days takes us to October 1st. The evaluation, I believe, should be ongoing and not just post 90 days. Tom agreed with Mr. Turiel, is that how I'm pronouncing your name? With Mr. Turiel that there would be evaluation during the 90 days. I'm still addressing him. I can look around the room. Thank you. Within the 90 days, I believe that there should be public staggered evaluations in front of the City Council, let's say every 30 days. That would be 3 meetings before that 90 days are up that allows the public to have some input and to understand somewhat as to what has been going on here. The fact that Salem, over the past, let's say 10 years, has allowed an abundance of new apartments and condos to be put forth without parking.
Russell, you need to address me, please.
I'm addressing you,
No,
I'm
but
just
it's-
looking around.
Right, thank you.
There are other people, you know.
Yes.
Without parking, I think, is an affront to the residents of Salem. My little daughter smashed my glasses yesterday running into me, so. I believe that there has not been enough discussion, Mr. Chairman, concerning residential spots. I see something over here. Snow emergency, residential sticker pass program costs, construction workers. Those are all part of parking in Salem for residents, non-residents alike. Basically, in closing, I feel that this is a selfish and underhanded revenue grab by the city that sacrifices those of us who rent to enable somewhat dictatorial enforcement of parking without giving the little guy a chance. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hold on, please. Yes, go ahead, Councilor O'Keefe.
To you, Mr. Chairman. Do you reside on Federal Street?
Yes, sir.
You have a sticker, residence parking?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll ask the chairman to
43.
allude at what we're gonna do about that problem on Federal Street for you.
Thank you, sir.
That's a separate issue,
Separate
separate
issue.
from where we are tonight.
We're familiar with it.
Okay.
All right, we are meeting separately to try to address that entire area, all right, because it has a severe problem. One of the biggest problems you're having there is the visitor pass abuse of the system, all right, and we're addressing that. It's going to become its own residential parking area.
With the new posts that have been installed.
That, no post is not part of the conversation with that one, so, but that one, what is currently there now? Any post?
Yes, directly in front of 43 Federal Street,
So
41
the
Federal
only
Street.
change would be the fare meter structure, right?
Excuse me?
The only change would be the fare structure? If you already have
Up
meters,
to that point,
if you have
if you
meters
go
there
down
now,
Federal Street, there are, I think it's 6 spots that are residential in the evening, residential only parking, and then from 8 o'clock to, I think, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, those would be open to the public.
right,
Those spots with meters on them, if someone is parked in them, residing and leaving the car and taking the bus into Boston or the train into Boston, or a work vehicle as opposed to the personal vehicle, then you get screwed, pardon my expression, out of those 6 spots. Granted, if someone else is there that comes to go to the courthouse or something, and you're not already parking there, as a resident, you lose out on that spot. But the rest of the street going down, with the way the courthouse is, and as, Mr. Chairman, you are most likely aware, the amount of non-residents that typically utilize the resident spots, I'm sure, put revenue into the coffers of Salem. However, it would be incumbent on the parking commission or whomever is in charge of the meter enforcement and residential parking enforcement to go down the street somewhat more frequently, especially in as much as that is a federal courthouse and the amount of people that go to and fro becomes almost beyond comprehension.
hold on one second, please. Counselor, you all set?
Yeah, through you, Mr. President, it's a Massachusetts courthouse, not a.
I'm sorry, my mistake. I don't get into the court very often.
We're on the special committee that the chairman has appointed on resident parking. It's gonna be called a courthouse district. However, the committee is aware that businesses are taking, and landlords are taking the visitors' passes and using them themselves. The rent
Landlords are?
space are taking the visitors' park and hanging them on their windows. We're
I see,
aware of that.
I see some people that work in the courthouses have
Well, we're aware of
visitor
that, and there's gonna
tags.
be a crackdown on that.
We're going to try to address it.
By
and
the
make
way,
it-
Mr. Chairman, in full disclosure, prior to this meeting, you did ask me about that, and you did mention that there was something going on about
We're trying to make your
residential.
situation better.
Yeah.
However, we have to be very careful where we tread here because the state could come in, if we get too crazy with what we do, the state could come in and say, we need to declare this a Homeland Security area because you can't park a van too close to the courts, therefore no parking anywhere. So we need to be careful what we do here. However,
I
we're
understand.
going to try to protect the residents there because we have the same issue on Line Street as well.
On another note, having worked downtown for years and years, I'm a service technician and I park everywhere,
Right.
all over the place. I was downtown technician for close to 20 years for Konica Minolta, with whom I am still employed. And the reason that I continue to reside in an apartment is because I just finished up paying 20 years of child support for my son, who happens to be 23 years old. Most likely, I'm going to be moving to South Carolina somewhere down the line for the cost of living. But in the interim, having resided on Federal Street as an apartment dweller for 20 years, the enforcement practices, let's just say, have been inconsistent and somewhat lax.
You're fortunate you have the parking director here who is
I am
listening to
well
what
aware
you're
of-
saying.
Yes.
All right. Before you leave, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you. Well, first of all, just to address the the situation with the committee that Councilor O'Keefe is referring to. That's the subcommittee we established last week at a meeting, and myself, Councilor Sosnowski, and Councilor O'Keefe are all serving on that and starting to work on figuring out the resident parking issues. The other thing I was going to say, just speaking to your particular situation and the meters in what were previously pretty much during, from my understanding, from the way you describe it, those spaces in front of you were pretty much unregulated spaces during the day before.
Correct.
So now with meters, that
Now
would,
they're regulated.
one would think that with meters then, so long as the meters don't extend into your resident hours, resident parking only hours, then one would think that if somebody was using those spaces and just using it as an all-day parking space, they'd get a fairly expensive ticket and be cured of that habit pretty quickly. That would be the hope.
Perhaps. It is my understanding that a time enforcement similar to what has been going on in Boston for the past 30 years is going to take place in Salem. Perhaps I'm mistaken, but that would necessitate the parking enforcement people to mark cars or license plates to ensure that after said parking time of 4 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever it may be, the car must be on another block. Boston has been doing this for years. Parking garages in Boston are $35 for the day typically, and it's about 25 cents for 15 minutes. They started out with the boot. I got a boot when I was at Emerson College in 1977, and I swore I would never encounter that situation again for the rest of my life. I pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars in parking expenses in my work and in my private life. However, this grab for parking spots at the expense of residential spots, which are quite often utilized by those of us who rent and have less of a say in the community, in my view, is rather selfish and short-sighted.
We will try to address that, sir.
On another note, Mr. Counselor, the cost of parking, people say to me all the time, oh, parking's so expensive, parking's so expensive. Go to Boston. Walk a block. I have no problem walking a quarter of a mile, going to the parking garage, parking someplace else. People are basically lazy. They want what they want when they want it, so they can walk in front of wherever they happen to go. There's nothing wrong with walking a block or two to utilize the parking garages.
We agree entirely.
Which actually needs to be put out there more often. But I'm basically here only to speak up for the little guy that utilizes residential parking. The other stuff, I think the smart meters, I don't know if they have a feedback loop through a radio or electronic process that goes to a computer that can be downloaded and gone through. I think that's all well and good. I do know that in Boston they do have difficulty with the electronic meters with the cold and things like that, and I certainly believe, perhaps mistakenly, that any of these electronic meters are substantially more costly to the community financially than the old style meters, which could be jammed and could get frozen, etc. And while we step into this new century, somewhat 10 years later, the parking situation in Salem really is not that bad. People do not wish to walk more than a block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. We have 2 lovely
We need
parking
you to join the
garages.
parking commission.
Pardon?
We need you to join the parking commission.
Oh, there's a lot that I could do. However.
Terry, you have one more question?
Thank you so much, everyone, and
Hold
I
on.
hope.
One
I'm
more
sorry.
question.
Well, actually, I'd like to address this quick question for clarification to Mr. Hacker, if that's okay, Mr. Chairman. In a situation like his, where you have what are right now unregulated spaces would be metered spaces.
Hold
with
on,
resi-
Counselor.
Sorry. Yep. Hold that thought. Where you have regulated spaces which have a resident hours to them, would a resident sticker supersede the metered time limits? So would you be able to park in those spaces if you had a resident sticker regardless of the meter?
Not the way the ordinance.
So the ordinance written, they are metered spaces during the day.
The new ordinance on the streets is till 8 o'clock.
Okay, and when they were unregulated, would a resident sticker allow you to park there at any time?
And anybody can park.
Yeah,
Right.
so,
If I could just clarify, well,
please.
it's on street till 8, but the specific instance in this, it's resident only after 5, I think.
Something to that effect.
So that stands for those spaces there.
However,
But they go from unregulated to metered.
if
During the
I
day.
was parked in one of those spots in the morning, and I chose to take my work vehicle in and leave my personal vehicle at home, then at that point, that spot, which may have been the only one I was able to get to because of the calamity, we shall say, on Federal Street by the courthouse, then basically, I'm up the creek without a paddle because I gotta find something else. Or I can walk, or I can go to the garage, or whatever. But I believe that as a resident of Salem, the community of Salem, and I've lived here since approximately 1982, when I chose to move here from Ipswich, that the community that resides in town, not necessarily businesses, but families and single people and people that rent and do not necessarily pay their taxes directly, but through their landlords, are being taken advantage of in this situation.
It's good to hear this. We will bring this all under consideration.
And respectfully, thank you so much for letting me speak.
No problem, sir. Thank you. Before we get to you, well, actually, go ahead. How you doing, Shirley?
Hi, Shirley Walker, 51 Lafayette Street. I live in a condo, and we have mandatory passes at the South Harbor Garage. So my concern is the 90-day clock when it starts and the evaluation and who do you call. So if it starts on July 1, which is 4th of July weekend, who do you call? So for instance, if we're now in the cheap seats in the 25 cents an hour at the South Harbor Garage, which is the end of the tsunami, you start up on Federal Street and then the cheapest parking in all of Salem is 25 cents an hour in the South Harbor Garage. So now we are absolutely by this parking plan not able as seniors to take what we have had, which was $200 if you're a senior, and you had dual parking privileges in both the South Harbor Garage and Museum Place. So that we're shut out of that now. For $200, we get the South Harbor Garage. So my question is, who do I call on July 1 or any other day after that within that 90-day window when I cannot park my car in the South Harbor Garage? Now, I have a situation, and many of us do, in the South Harbor Garage. The elevator has not been operational for 6 months. So I have a torn meniscus, so I've had 2 cortisone shots. And mostly the problem is from walking up the stairs to get to my car at the South Harbor Garage. And I've called several of people that are in this room, and I've gotten actually no response.
Well, hold on one second, Shirley.
Yes.
Is that elevator still out?
Yep.
The alarm system shorted out. The council authorized funds to be paid to repair the alarm system. When you repair the alarm system, the elevator will lack of use for several weeks. The goal was we may have one over there. It was supposed to be in last week. So it's been out for 6 months?
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Right, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
So
thank
I've
you.
called people, and basically I get no response, but the point is, no one really calls me back, nor does anything. My husband has now been diagnosed with sciatica, so he had a knee replacement 2 years ago. He's in the same situation. This is public parking, but I'll I'll address that at a different point. But my point is, who do I call? Now, Mr. Daniel indicated something fairly not described to Councilor Prevey, who asked the question, who do you call? Well, you know, it's the city. You call the city or you send an email. My question is, if I can't park in the South Harbor garage, for the past 2 months, what I do is if I have a problem with a car, I call the cops because we've had many break-ins in the South Harbor garage. TZ mentioned the point about public safety. But my issue is, who do I call? I mean, I could call the police, but it's not going to help. I can't go to the Museum Place garage anymore because my $200 as a senior rate does not entitle to me to the same benefits I received when I bought this condominium 6.5 years ago. So now I'm shut out of that. I'm at the South Harbor garage, and my question is, who do I call? And who's going to give me an answer? And do I have to wait 3 months why I can't park in the South Harbor garage? I don't think I'm going to.
Shirley, my understanding is what you're asking us is a very good question.
Right.
But it's going to be addressed in what we refer to the parking lot issues. All right, you have.
Is it? Where, is it up here?
Well, the resident sticker things and the programs and the costs and the whole bit, yes.
Where does it say that?
In number 3, I believe.
The program cost? I don't get you mean a pass? It says over here a pass program?
Well, let's put it this way, if it's not in that parking lot issue, we'll add it to it right now.
But my question still is, here's July 1st.
Who do you call? I understand.
Who do I call? It's like
Right.
Ghostbusters. But the
that being
problem is,
said-
how do I get a response? And you know, the thing is that when you're looking at this stuff, to wait until the first day of Halloween madness to address this, now, you know, we have some choices. We can just park our car. And the police will come. We won't call them, but the parking director will call them, and we'll have a park-in. I'm serious about this. We have, how many? 100 and some odd passes. And we had the same problem in all the 6 condominiums that weren't notified at all about this business, as you all know what we went through trying to get ourselves on the table. But we didn't get anywhere. We got nowhere, unlike the lovely people who actually, you got smart, you got 4,000 signatures, and you got, well, but it's not going to do us any good.
I have the situation.
Yes,
You have
yes.
it with Bob, but I have the situation with the Latitude, the Bluestone, the
Yes, I
old
know,
place.
I
mean,
know.
we're in the
But
Norman Street.
my
We're
question
trying to-
still is, and could we get an
It's the
answer
same thing.
tonight, maybe from the parking director, Mr. Hacker? Who do we call? I'm serious about this.
Well, then let's get an answer. Hold on one second. Do you want to offer an answer, Lynn, or Tom? Or Jim? Any answers here for this lady?
I'm not sure what the question is.
Oh, please.
Could
If
you,
I can't, if I go into the South Harbor garage starting July 1, so that's all the price points are in place, all the signage is in place, and I go to park my car in the South Harbor garage and I cannot find a space because now it's $25 an hour. Who do I call to get a parking space in the South Harbor garage? And that is my question. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
That's one of the things that we've discussed previously, and it's certainly on our radar if we want to go.
Well, but my question still is, who do I call? And so I guess,
So, if I
Mr.
may, Mr.
Daniels.
Counselor, if the question is, it's an operational question, you would call, the number you call is the parking office.
right.
That's the number you call.
This is the people I've been calling about the elevators, so, but I mean, and your response was that if the city will handle it. My question is, who do I call? Who have you designated in these numerous people? I called Jim Hacker, is that who I called?
So, Mr. Chair,
Mr. Daniels?
through you, Jim Hacker is the parking director, and so if you make a call, you make a call to the parking office, and it's the parking director.
And then what happens?
Then, basically, the way it should happen, Shirley, is this. You make the call to Mr. Hacker. If you feel he has not responded properly, then you need to call possibly the council president or the mayor's office, and you need to make that complaint.
I did all that about the elevator, so, but my issue is now we're in the
And then what?
90-day window.
And then what?
We're in the 90-day window. So here we go. We've got something where people have talked about the fact that you don't want an after-the-fact evaluation after the 90 days. You talk about something significant within the 90 days. If you have an issue, somehow there needs to be a way to address it, not after 90 days. And that's operational parking in terms of active parking management.
Hold on one second,
Right.
Lynn, hold on. Do you anticipate the South Harbor Garage to be at maximum at all times because of this new parking plan?
No.
No.
Right, okay, but what happens when it is? That's my question. Who do you call?
Well,
And what do you do?
that's true of any space in town, is everything's on a first-come, first-served basis. However, in your situation, I know where you're going with
Right,
this.
I can't park at Museum Place anymore for my $200 senior rate. I'm shut out. My only option as a mandatory pass holder is the South Harbor Garage.
Lynn?
So I think Tom mentioned that when we get the communication plan up and running, that there will be an address for people to submit these types of comments, that they're having either good comments, perhaps. I'm able to find a parking space now on the Washington between Essex and Lined now, since the parking goes into effect, or I'm unable to get a parking spot in the South Harbor Garage. And we will monitor that. And we won't wait, I think, as we acknowledged earlier, we're not going to necessarily wait 90 days. We do not anticipate a problem at the South Harbor Garage. We have agreed not to sell any more passes at the South Harbor Garage. So in fact, the residents were very successful, as the folks here tonight, and I appreciate people coming and spending their time, but they were successful. We agreed not to sell any new passes at the South Harbor Garage, I believe for a period of 6 months. So the 90-day monitoring is a much shorter period of time. We'll be monitoring. There'll be the website set up. People can submit comments to that. If it's an operational issue, I want to underscore what Mr. Daniel said, which is an operational issue goes to the parking director. If we hear from a lot of people that that there is no availability at South Harbor, then we need to increase the price. If it's the price that is attracting people so that there's no space available,
So you're gonna have a
we won't wait the
website?
90 days. We'll come back to council with a recommendation to increase the cost.
So within the first 30 days of this plan being implemented, Shirley or her husband goes down to park at the South Harbor Garage, and on multiple occasions there are no open spaces, there's going to be a spot that she can call.
There's an address?
There's a website? Right, again, if it's an operational issue that, just like in the course of business today, operational questions or issues would be directed to the parking department.
Right.
If it's a broader type of issue or just feedback or input, positive or negative, that's something parkingatsalem.com that comes to a group of us for the evaluation piece.
So let's repeat that, parkingatsalem.com. It's not set up yet, but
It is set up.
It is set up.
Yep, we have received,
Parkingatsalem.com.
and we have received input at parkingatsalem.com, both positive and negative.
Do me a favor, when you have this situation,
Yes.
would you copy CC us on your emails? I'd like to know when this situation arises.
Thank you, Councilor Cisnowski, because we, just as the man before spoke, we are being treated very differently. And my other piece of being treated differently is the senior rate that changed to exclude us from the Museum Place Garage. And based on what Tom Daniel said earlier, he didn't mention the 6-month moratorium, and I'm assuming now that 6-month moratorium on selling passes to the South Harbor Garage starts October 1, am I correct? Is that the moratorium that Lynn Duncan spoke of?
Mr. Chair, surely, through the discussion last year, we agreed that there would be no passes sold to the South Harbor Garage for a period of 6 months after full implementation. So implementation is July 1st is what we're saying tonight. So there's 6 months. If after 6 months, there's sufficient availability, we would make 10 passes available for sale. Once those 10 passes are sold, we will evaluate for 30 days utilization. That's what we
Good.
adopted last year.
I'm glad you
And
say that
that's
again.
That's still in place. And then if we find out in the 6 months period that, that the capacity doesn't support additional passes, we won't sell passes, as Lynn mentioned.
Good.
It may mean adjusting the rates up, the hourly rates up, and then we evaluate from there. I just want to underscore, as I said in the earlier comments, this is meant to be, it's not done and we go away. There's ongoing evaluation feedback. It's a system where we are learning as it goes to see how things are impacted, so.
Feedback, in terms of feedback with not being able to park.
So if I could just finish, please, just
Right.
1 second. So this is another area where, you know, the utilization of the South Harbor Garage is something that we're very well aware of, is of keen interest to the residents of Derby Lofts, and we'll be closely monitoring, as I know you will be, and you'll be letting us know.
Definitely, I will be, and I will copy you, Counselor Sosnowski.
And I think the other councilors
I
would
will,
probably
I'm going
do
to
that,
further
too.
pursue the fact that for 6 months, I've been walking up the stairs. I guess it's the state of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts now, because it's impossible, and we've received absolutely nothing in writing and no reasonable accommodation. So, but that's another issue, and thank you.
Thank you. Hold on 1 second, please, Shirley. Councilor Sargent, do you have a hand up?
I was just saying, isn't there, if somebody has a medical issue, isn't there some kind of temporary pass for a handicap spot somebody could get for a lower level, at least if the elevator's up?
Sounds good.
Well, that's something you could ask Lieutenant Przewski about. He would be the one that would authorize the handicap stickers.
Thank you very much, because for 6 months, no matter how many people I call, nobody told me that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Come forward, please.
I'm Dennis Dragonis, and I get the same problem what we got on Gidney Street. I'm 116 Lafayette Street and Harbor Street. I'm going through the same problem what's going on in Gidney Street.
What's your business address?
It's 116 Lafayette. I'm having a hard time, parking. And
what's the type of company you have?
I don't have a company.
Oh, you're a resident of that address?
Resident, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm going through the same problems as on Gidney Street, with like Steve Market's going through.
Right.
And not only that, I have to say one more thing. Around Halloween time, I can't come home. I'm over my brother's house, and that's on North Street. He lives on 14 Cushion Street. I have to sleep over before I can come back and go home. What I'm trying to say is, even when I try to get out around midnight, there's no place for me to park in that neighborhood. And I'm not the only one. And they have posts going down Harbor Street, all the way down. It's like 5, 6 posts, and it goes from around the store where that bank is, and then where you see that clock turns around downtown.
Hold on 1 second. Any councilors have any questions at this point? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take note. Actually, hold on 1 second. This gentleman's had his hand up for a while now. No, you're all set, Dennis, thank you.
I wanted to ask one question. I live on 45 Federal Street. I'm Ed Casey. Okay, I'm disabled. Totally disabled because I had a heart attack and everything. I get a handicap thing. Would I have to move my car every day?
What are you talking about?
I'm a resident of 45 Federal Street.
And do you have a
handicap sign? Yes, I do.
handicap
sir.
placard?
Right.
If you park on a handicap zone, you can park.
There's only one there, but what if it's tooken and if I park in front of my house, I'd have to move my car every day? I mean, I don't work.
I can only issue you a spot in front of your house, and again, even handicap spots are on a first-come, first-served basis. Should someone else with a handicap placard show up before you, and they're legally allowed to have a handicap spot, there's nothing I can do about that.
So
That is
you mean
also a first-come, first-served.
You're actually saying I gotta move my car every day, this totally disabled person gotta get up?
No, I'm not saying that.
I don't have to move my car
I'm saying that if you
at
have a
all.
handicap placard in your car.
No, I got a plaque, but I don't got a handicap spot in front of my house. But
He's my neighbor.
I'm totally disabled, okay, I'm illiterate.
Okay,
I'm illiterate.
Here's the thing. Here's what you need to do. You need to go down to the Salem Police Station. You need to talk to Lieutenant Przewski, the traffic officer.
Okay.
And tell him that you are handicapped. Give him all the information the doctor's statements, everything. He'll give you a list of things to provide for him, and we will get you a handicap spot in front of your house.
But in the meantime, do I have to get up in the morning time to move my car?
Until that happens, yes, unfortunately. Well,
I don't think that's right.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yes, I do, sir.
You are allowed to park in any legitimate parking space for any length of time.
I mean, so I don't have to get up in the morning and move my car at all?
As long as it's a legitimate parking space.
If you were going into a handicap space, all right, you have to go to a handicap space.
No. That I was told by...
You can park at a meter without paying?
Yeah, that's what
Oh, because I was...
Hold on one second. Jim Hacker, please.
Okay, I was told I could park anywhere on the street I want.
Mr. Chairman, SATV cannot hear Mr. Hacker because he doesn't have a microphone. He has to come to the podium.
Mr. Hacker, could you come forward here to a microphone, please?
Just to say that, no, this is something else.
If you have a legitimate
They give you a
handicap
spot,
placard.
Not to take it from the residential spot.
Right.
Pay attention, please.
If you have a legitimate handicap placard, not one that you've made up, but one that was issued by the state,
I got one by the state.
that would allow you to park in any legitimate parking space for any length of time. So if you're at a parking meter, you put your placard up, you're not required to pay anything while you're at the meter. If there's a snow emergency, you have to get off the street.
Right, snow emergency.
Park in a garage or a lot that has a gate.
So you're
rather
saying
than-
I don't have to move at all? I have to get up in the morning, as long as the handicap place took it. I live at 45, I park in front of my house every day.
You can
I don't have to
park-
get up to move my
You
car.
can park anywhere
Okay,
with
that's
that
all I know.
placard, any legitimate.
And how many meters are they gonna put on our street? I mean, we don't get no room at all for, for residents.
I don't know the answer to that. All right, that would be in the plan right here. All right, hold on one second. All right. Over here, this gentleman had his hand up first. Please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Juan Espinal. I'm actually not a barber at New Life Cuts. I'm actually one of their customers. But I just want the council to really take a look at this because I feel that upcoming businesses on Kennedy Street and on Margin Street, I feel like they'll lose some of their customers. Because I know I'm actually an upcoming business owner in the city of Lynn, and I know that convenience is key for a business. And just how Tom is cheap, there are a lot of customers and people that are also cheap as well. So if a person could go to another convenience store, grocery store, barbershop, where they wouldn't have to pay for parking, I don't see why wouldn't they. And I just wouldn't want to see other businesses lose business because of this, the implementation of the parking meters.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
All right, over here. Patricia Zato first.
I'm Patricia Zato, the Executive Director of the Salem Partnership, and I'd briefly like to talk about how difficult change is. I agreed to be on this committee, not because this is a major issue of the Salem Partnership, but because over the years I'm so tired of hearing people who live in Salem Willows, who live up in Highland Avenue, who live in South Salem, tell me they never come to Salem because it's impossible to find a parking space. And I have always felt, although I had absolutely no proof, that there was no parking problem in Salem. So I wanted to be on this committee to find out whether I was right or they were right, whether their perception was correct or not. This city hired an incredibly expensive consultant, nationally known consultant, and it was the best money you ever spent. This man knows more about parking than any of us ever really want to know. And he spent, every time he gave us an idea on this 14-person committee, he gave us documentation of where it had worked, whether it was in Cambridge or in Sacramento. And we listened to him most of the time. One time we didn't listen to him was because he said that we should really have no time limits. And now as I listen to all of this going on, I'm really kind of sorry we didn't listen to him on that one too. You know, we're talking about 4 hours. You don't have to stay there for 4 hours. You can park there for 15 minutes. And that's the whole idea, 15 minutes to 4 hours. I mentioned that change is difficult. changing behavior is the absolute most difficult. Even when you prove things, that there are 750 spaces at prime time, it's very difficult. 90 days is definitely what we need. Behavior changes, the slightest thing, everybody's like, this isn't working. It takes time, and I ask you to give it time, because all the places it has been tried before, it has been successful. Does it need tweaking? Without question. But if we get into the fact that, yes, we do need to have a holistic plan and we do need to have change, as long as it's not on my street, then we're in deep trouble. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Kate?
Councilor Sosnowski, my name is Kate Fox. I'm the Executive Director of Destination Salem, and I have had the pleasure of serving on this parking committee as well. I think I was asked for a 6-month commitment 3 years ago, and have, and I knew nothing about parking, and have learned, as Patricia said, considerable amounts, and I encourage the council to support the recommendations from Tom. I commend the work that has been done by the planning department, the work with Nelson Nygaard, the work of the committee. It has been thoughtful, it has been thorough, and it is in no way intended to be devious or in any way harmful. What we are striving for is a healthier downtown, and a downtown where both businesses and residents can coexist. The 4-hour parking, as Patricia mentioned, as Tom mentioned, is intended to give people more opportunity to successfully use downtown. And I hear the complaints of, I got a parking ticket because I came downtown and I went out for lunch and I went to the Peabody Essex Museum and I overstayed the 2 hours and now I have a ticket. I will tell you, I started my day this morning paying a parking ticket because I couldn't get into the garage during the military celebration earlier this month, and in my house we call that economic development of Salem. It needs to be applied. The plan needs to be supported and tried for 90 days. Tom has said many times that it is a process that is malleable, a process that there will be feedback, and I urge the council not to go in assuming it's not going to work, because I really think it is. The research and the examples we've seen are all successful and were very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Anyone else over here that hasn't spoken? Okay, that being said, okay, any further comment from the council?
Mr. Chairman?
Councilor O'Keefe.
As a member of the committee, I propose to offer a motion, but I'd like to hear from Mr. Daniel again before I do that.
Mr. Daniels? What is it you want to hear from?
I want to go back. Are you familiar with the mayor's letter to the city council?
Yes, with the 90-day.
So I want to specifically, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth paragraph, the last sentence.
I don't have a copy in front of me.
All right,
but
And what does it say? Why don't you read it for everybody can hear?
The fourth paragraph, the last sentence?
Last sentence, yes.
With that in mind, I am proposing that we amend the plan to eliminate the installation of new meters in these 2 locations along Margin Street. And that is referring back to the meters in front of Steve's Market and the post office.
Now, I heard you say you're going to put the meters in. So no. Which is it?
No.
Mr. Chair, Councilor O'Keefe, no. The meters aren't going in front of the post office or Steve's Market. The poles were installed because that was approved. After the poles were installed, the community, that has spoken said, no, and the mayor and the councilors said no, and so the poles are there, the poles need to come out. But the meters aren't going in on Margin Street in front of Steve's or the post office.
When are the poles coming out for you, Mr. Chairman? When are the poles coming out? And the hole's filled in with concrete?
Mr. Chair, Councilor
Somebody trips and sees the city
O'Keefe,
on the hole that's left.
We have a contractor that's working on that in terms of it needs to be added into the scope of work.
All right, thank you. That's the chairman.
Councilor O'Keefe?
All right, I have a motion to order. As a member of the committee.
As a member of the committee, Councilor O'Keefe.
Member of the committee. Offer the motion to remove all meters and posts from in front of the post office, Steve's Market, and the odd number side of Gedney Street.
Both sides of Gedney Street?
Well, I was thinking, both sides, leave both sides. Both sides of Gedney Street to Holyoke Square parking, whatever, that street that comes out, Holyoke Square parking. Okay, no meters there on Gedney, front of the post office or in front of Steve's Market. That's my amendment from the committee, being a member of the committee, to the council.
No, you have to go to the corner of Summer Street if you're gonna do that.
Oh, hold on.
I didn't hear what Councilor
First of all, no.
He seconded him, did he?
Are you seconding it, Councilor Sergeant?
Just a second. Just wanna see something. Here's, these are these meters?
These are monthly spaces.
Those are monthly spaces.
It's just the
meters.
red dots
Yeah,
that
I
are
get
yours.
Okay, sorry.
I guess my question is how far down Market Street? Is it all down to the church or are you stopping at State?
Councilor McCarthy?
Just a question through you, Mr. Chair, to the good Ward 7 Council. When you say Margin Street, it's obviously, I see two double heads in front of the post office, two double heads in front of Steve's Market. Farther down in front towards where the old St. Mary's Church is, are you proposing that one?
No.
You're proposing that one stays?
Let's stay.
Hold on.
That's in front of Steve's
Hold on,
Market.
Councilor.
Hold on, I'm waiting for the tape.
All right.
Councilor McCarthy?
Okay, that was just, Councilor Sergeant was just, we were looking at something else and I just noticed the extra red dot. So
I don't know the name of that street that goes up between where the rectory on the church was and Steve's Market. What is that street?
High Street.
What?
High Street.
High Street. It would be between High and Gedney where Steve's Market is on Margin.
Okay.
Make sense? No,
Council-
Gedney Street, yes, but on the other side, going up, yes. Gedney
Okay,
Street, yes.
okay.
Where the
Councilor
barber
O'Keefe,
shop's at.
Councilor O'Keefe, can I try to clarify this
Yes.
for you? As I understand what you're trying to say, you're putting forward a motion to remove all the posts and meters from in front of the United States Post Office and Steve's Market and all meters on Gedney Street.
Yes. And
Right.
in the spirit of what the mayor's letter said,
Fine.
all right?
Do I have a
Mayor-
second on that?
Mayor said that. One of my colleagues on the committee have
Do
to
I
say.
have a second on that? Councilor Sergeant would second it.
Mr. Chairman,
Any discussion? Councilor Lovely?
can you just identify for the audience who the members are of the committee? and
The members of the committee
Who
are,
will be voting on this, and other members, other non-members will not be voting on it tonight, so.
all right, just for clarification, thank you. The council president has asked that I clarify for the audience here what's going on. Number one, this is a matter posted before the Committee of Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. In other words, any of the 11 councilors can attend. However, all matters in this committee can only be voted on by the 5 members of the Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs Committee. And those members are Councilor O'Keefe, Councilor Siegel, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Sargent, and myself. All the other councilors are here in a Committee of the Whole capacity. Right? That's straightforward. Okay.
Move the question.
Councilor Sergeant seconds the question. Councilor McCarthy?
I yield.
Under discussion?
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the members of the committee and to the audience. I apologize for being late. I did not hear any of the remarks from Mr. Daniels earlier or from any of the members of the audience relative, I'm assuming they're everyone over there that spoke first with regards to this Steve's Market. We heard a bunch of comments from Federal Street and from the South Harbor Garage from when I came in. I would like to state for the record that I agree in principle with everything that's been said with regards to the meters on Gedney Street and Margin Street. But at the same time, for tonight's meeting, I'll vote present only because I want to go home and watch the tape and see what was said, and just to make sure I have a full understanding. I agree with everything from the bits and pieces I've got from the tail end, but I think it would be, I don't think it would be proper for me to vote on the issue since I wasn't in attendance for the full meeting. I apologize, I had a previous commitment. We just moved this meeting up, it was supposed to be later in the month, which I had slotted time for, so I agree in principle with what's being said, but I just want to understand all the logistics of it before, I feel that when this comes in front of the council in 2 weeks or a week and a half, whenever it is, I'll support it, but I just want to make sure that I do my due diligence and watch the tape.
Understood.
And make sure it's,
Just so for you to know, in your absence, I briefly described your situation with the Essex cleaners. Not knowing any of the details, I didn't go any further than that. However, it may be or may not be a similar situation, really on the outskirts of where we thought all this was going to be implemented. However, that's for you to look at between now and then.
Appreciate that, thank you.
All right. That being said, any further discussion?
Move the question.
Seeing none. All those in favor?
Favor?
All those opposed?
Doubt the vote. Call the roll.
Counselor Sargent?
No roll, in favor.
In favor. All right. Four of us are in favor, one abstaining.
Fine.
So the committee, the Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs Committee has voted to recommend out to the full council that the motion is to remove all posted meters from in front of the United States Post Office, Steve's Market, and Olive Gedney Street. And that passed on a vote of 4 yea, no, 0 nay, and 1 absent, and 1 abstaining at the moment.
Move for adjournment.
Hold on.
Hold on, Counselor, we have another issue we need to talk about briefly.
Well, it's
That was.
move for adjournment of this matter in the committee.
Okay, well, we have one more matter before the committee, all right? All right, and, okay. So that moves this. I'm losing it, I'm getting tired. All right, the next matter before us is the recommendations made by the parking board relative to the parking lot issues, all right? Toward that end, the hour's getting late, we're into our third hour at this point. Do we want to continue this forward and talk about that at a later date?
Move the matter stays in committee.
Move that number 5 stay in committee. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion, all those in favor, all those opposed have voted. Now we'll take a motion,
Now I
Councilor.
move for adjournment of the committee.
All those in favor, all those opposed have voted. Thank you, councilors. Thank you all.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.